Hello everyone, my name is Daniel and I'm just a casual sim racer. In this video I talk about everything that we currently know regarding Assetto Corsa 2 before giving a couple of fact-based predictions. Digital Bros, who are the owners of Kunos, the studio which developed Assetto Corsa, announced that Assetto Corsa Mobile would be coming in the summer of 2021, while Assetto Corsa 2 is due to be released in 2024. Two recent interviews, one with Sim Racing Unlimited and another with GT Planet, allowed the executive manager at Kunos, Marco Massaruto, to reveal a lot of information about the coming few years of development. Marco stated that they are considering options other than the Unreal Engine for Assetto Corsa 2, but they can't overlook the experience they now have with the Unreal Engine. Marco acknowledged that the VR performance in games when utilizing the Unreal Engine is disappointing, as the support within Unreal Engine is secondary for VR. He noted that another detractor for the Unreal Engine is that games developed using the engine require higher performance computers to achieve good frame rates. But, on the other hand, if Kunos was to move away from the Unreal Engine for Assetto Corsa 2, then they would have to build a new game engine completely from scratch. Marco stated that the quality of any new in-house engine would have to be equal or higher than that which the Unreal Engine can achieve, and that developing a game engine of that caliber will be a considerable challenge for the studio. If Kunos was to be successful, one of the huge positives would be the gains and improvement on the VR front. Kunos enjoys and wants to be a technology provider in game development, and it felt like Kunos had to abandon a part of the studio's DNA when they began using the Unreal Engine with ACC. Marco acknowledged that because Unreal Engine 5's release is right around the corner, it is still important that Kunos evaluates all options for the future. Marco hinted that future improvements likely to be included in Assetto Corsa 2 will be the further fine-tuning of the physics, tire model, graphics, sound, netcode, track accuracy, and weather conditions. Marco mentioned that one of the larger improvements they would like to make with Assetto Corsa 2 would be the addition of more realistic damage. However, he did state that totally realistic damage will not be included because of the frustration that it would cause if someone bumped the wall and their race would just end, and that frustration would easily overpower the realism. When it comes to modding, Marco stated that half of the Assetto Corsa community doesn't even have access to mods, as they are on console, and the console version of Assetto Corsa doesn't support modding. Marco noted that modding is important, but is just one of the many secrets behind the success of Assetto Corsa. Marco's favorite thing about the modding community is the talented amateur developers it has created, with Kunos even hiring 5 of the very best individuals to work in Kunos' own studio. But the biggest thing that Marco doesn't like about modding is the 3D models that he frequently sees ripped from other games. These transgressions by the modding community have led to multiple car manufacturers contacting Kunos and almost suing them over these illegal content rips. Marco emphasized that the modding community needs to make a large improvement, as Assetto Corsa gives them all the tools to create content that is not ripped from other games. In the past, Kunos has mentioned that if any future game releases do support mods, then Kunos would need to have greater control over the modding scene for those games. In my opinion, it appears pretty clear that Kunos wants to develop their own in-house game engine. I think a large factor in their decision will be how much Unreal Engine 5 will improve over Unreal Engine 4. If, along with general overall improvements, Unreal Engine 5 fixes the VR side of things, improves the performance of games produced with the engine, and provides more support, specifically for racing games, I think Kunos will then go the Unreal Engine route for Assetto Corsa 2. If Assetto Corsa 2 is built on Unreal Engine 5, then I predict essentially a progression of Assetto Corsa Competizione. Essentially imagine ACC with a much wider variety of cars and tracks, with a little bit better computer performance, a moderately deep damage model, and smooth VR. Due to the rather severe limitations of modding with the Unreal Engine, I don't see open modding support for Assetto Corsa 2 as very likely. However, I do think that Kunos will definitely explore the possibility of working with several of the top third-party Assetto Corsa mod development studios, such as VRC Modding, Sim Racing Studio Sergio Lora, United Racing Design, Lamax, and IER Simulations, to name some. These studios could release paid DLC packs alongside the content produced by Kunos, expanding the content available for the AC2 community. It is much harder for me to feel accurate about any predictions if Assetto Corsa 2 is built on an in-house engine, but I'm still going to throw out some of my thoughts here. First, if Kunos chooses to build their own engine, I see them doing it as much to make Assetto Corsa 2 as to also license it to other game studios and developers. I could see studios like Monster Games, Sector 3, and Kiloton being interested, along with, of course, indie game developers and even perhaps an unexpected AAA game studio interested in entering the currently growing sim racing genre. The second possibility I could see is if Kunos initially wants to go with the Unreal Engine, but then Unreal Engine 5 is a disappointment, for example with little to no VR performance improvements. This has been expressed as a big factor if Kunos is going to stay with Unreal or not. And then, at some point, Kunos decides to develop their own in-house engine. What does an in-house game engine then mean for Assetto Corsa 2? Well, I think it gives Kunos a lot more flexibility and greater potential to innovate. However, I do think this approach will likely lead to several months of increased bugs and issues with the game shortly after release, especially if Kunos ends up making the game engine after initially intending to go with Unreal Engine 5. As we saw with Assetto Corsa Competizione, Kunos is a very tenacious studio, and they will eventually iron out all the bugs with AC2, given enough time. If you would like to be optimistic, you could imagine an in-house engine being better in every single way than the Unreal Engine. But I personally think Kunos would have to pick specific areas to focus on during development. I think an in-house engine will likely result in much greater performance gains than if AC2 is built using Unreal Engine. However, the audio visuals will probably be around the same level as ACC, and not quite as nice as Unreal Engine 5 could have provided. When it comes to modding, I would expect an in-house engine to be able to support it. However, Kunos is definitely not going to just allow totally open modding, as they did with the original Assetto Corsa. I expect that Kunos' solution to help them control the modding scene will be an official mod hosting platform and store built into AC2, which will then be the only way in which modders will be able to release content for the game, and only after Kunos has approved each mod for release on the mod hosting platform. I personally would like for Kunos to develop their own game engine in-house, rather than going with the Unreal Engine. But I do think that Assetto Corsa 2 could be still spectacular even if Kunos decides to go with the Unreal Engine. One of the things that you all know that I am a huge fan of is the growth of the sim racing community. And one of the ways that happens is through large AAA studios getting involved, other small indie studios getting involved, games being produced, more fans coming in, more members of our community. Kunos becoming a game engine developer would only add more growth and more incredible new features through this likely awesome new in-house engine than we had before. When it comes to modding, I don't necessarily think that Assetto Corsa needs to have full open mod support to be successful. However, I sure would like that. I think a storefront or a mod hosting platform that Kunos controls is inevitable. I don't see there's any way around that. Now, the possibility of the game being hacked or cracked is still there. So I think that's always something that people who really want modding, even if it goes through Unreal, even if they do a very strict, controlled platform, I still think the possibility, there's so many talented coders and just amateur developers, and they could have the ability to crack that. So I would say even if they do go and announce that there won't be modding, or the modding that you would hope for isn't going to be quite there, it's not going to be fully open, don't lose hope, because I do think the possibility of the game still being cracked open for open modding support will still be there. This summer we will get to play around with the mobile version of Assetto Corsa before the long 4-year wait begins. Assetto Corsa 2 is officially in development, and I know that I am looking forward to its release. I'd like to know whether you think Kunos will decide to go with Unreal Engine 5 or build their own in-house engine. And what is your initial gut reaction to the AC2 announcement? Let me know down in the comments. Consider subscribing as the channel pushes closer towards 1,000, and I hope you all have a great rest of your week.